So it's Thursday, it is the 19th, and I am off work today, so I figured good day to film. I have edited all of the footage from Tuesday and yesterday, and I've already put captions on there, so I remember what I was telling you guys. You know, I wrote chapters 1 and 2, and chapter 1 was hard, chapter 2 felt a little smoother, and I think my biggest problem is that I am very much used to like a shorter, quicker paced romance. And so in those kinds of stories, it's like you have to introduce both characters basically ASAP and get them interacting ASAP. And chapters 1 and 2 is essentially just May alone. And I'm setting up the setting, the atmosphere, the vibes. And so I was kind of struggling and worrying about, is this too much exposition? Is this too much time alone with May? But I think I've included enough little things here and there so that it doesn't feel boring. And obviously it's something I can work on when I am revising. So I feel okay with chapters 1 and 2. And I have most of chapter 3 brainstormed. The only reason I kind of stopped yesterday is because I'm not sure if chapter 3 should cover the whole catalyst or if chapter 3 should kind of be a cliffhanger-y-ish thing into the rest of the catalyst, which would become chapter 4. What I outlined yesterday, I think I will start writing today and just see how I feel. You know, obviously if I write what I have for chapter 3 and it only ends up being like 700 words, I will probably just continue into the rest of the catalyst. But if it ends up too long, it's a good place to cut it. It's 8:30. I've been awake basically since 5 because of Barkley. So I showered, made coffee, fed all the outdoor animals, and edited my video footage. And I'm finally, I also journaled because I'm trying to get better at that. And I'm finally like just sitting here to get into my creative work for the day. Also, I have gotten multiple requests to kind of show a peek into my writing journal, and I figured why not do that in this video. Okay, so bear with me. I don't have the best tripod. I don't typically film these videos, so it's hard for me to have like a good view and a good angle. It is what it is. So this is my current writing notebook, and looking at these stickers, I'm actually really sad because I will be switching out of this come July, because last November I bought a Hobonichi planner. I bought the FAVE set, which if you are unfamiliar with Hobonichi, like the original, it is a planner slash journal big enough for the whole year, but they also have a journal set that you can buy that is split up into 2 like more slim compact notebooks, and one of them has the first 6 months, the other has the second 6 months. I bought an FAVE set and I started using the first one at the beginning of this year, but I just fell off. Barkley was missing. Beginning of this year was really stressful, so I did not use it. But the second notebook in the FAVE set starts on July 1st, and so I want to switch into my Hobonichi. I paid for it. I want to use it. I love Hobonichi. Also, this is the cover it will be in. My mom bought me this cover for Christmas, so I want to use it. I had asked for one of the plank Hobonichi notebooks, so I will be using my Hobonichi FAVE as a planner because I wanted more space for journaling than my current notebook was offering, and then I will be using this blank notebook as my writing journal. So come July, I will be switching into this. Since March, I have been in a Stalogy. This is a Stalogy 365 in the A5 size. I do really like it. I think Stalogy makes a great notebook. They also make a slimmer version, because like the whole point of the Stalogy, 365 is that it has enough pages, like a original Hobonichi, to be able to plan throughout the year. But they also make a slim one that I guess is half year, similar to an FAVE. And when I'm done with the Hobonichi, I will probably just start using 2 slim Stalogies. But yeah, so initially I wanted a notebook that I could use for both planning and writing. So you can see this tab. This is where I split it off. So in the back half of this book is my writing stuff, and in the beginning is my planner stuff. And I put in enough pages in here to cover the month of August, up to the month of August, and then I split up the rest to be for my writing notebook. And I really overestimated how many writing pages I would need, because I probably could have fit weekly pages for the whole rest of the year and still had enough to have a writing space in the back. But I've discovered I just don't want it all in one place. It's very convenient, but like I said, I'm running out of months basically because we're almost in July and I still have all these blank pages, and so it's just going to be a waste ultimately. Even if I continued in this through the month of August, then I would still have a billion blank pages. So the best of intentions with this notebook, it just didn't work out. Quick sticker tour for those who are interested. I will try to link the shops down below because I bought most of these on Etsy. Like this was from Etsy. This was from Etsy. I love Garfield. He's like one of my favorite, I guess, mascots. You know, some girls are Snoopy girls, some girls are Winnie the Pooh girls. I'm a Garfield girl. My two favorite Baldur's Gate characters, the two I always romance. I love them both so much. And if you're familiar with Baldur's Gate, I think this says a lot about the men that I'm attracted to and the women that I'm attracted to. This came in a sticker pack my brother got me, a sticker pack from AliExpress. And Kittytown Coffee is just a coffee brand I really like because every bag of coffee that you buy can feed a shelter cat. And I just think, I don't know, cats and coffee, like, come on. I also have some stickers on the back. Papa V Perpetua from Ghost. I love his new look. I love the top hat, the claws, I love it all. Just a free write sticker. And Woobat, who is my favorite Pokemon besides Pikachu, and he is very underrated. So I said, you know what, I want some Woobat stickers. But yeah. I guess now, let's get into it. So I won't go through, like I said, this is just my weekly stuff. I do my tarot pools and my to-do lists, and I have my monthly spreads, but you don't need to see all of that. Sometimes I journal in there too. So getting into the writing stuff, the first thing I put in here was Nell Alexander's short romance beats, but it's my modified version to fit 30,000 words because her framework in her book only shows the word counts for I think a 7,000 word story, 10,000 word story, and a 15,000 word story, I think. It's been a while since I read it. My short romances tend to be a little longer, so they go closer to 30,000, and so this was just a way for me to kind of pace it, I guess, and understand if I was writing too much in a particular beat. I don't know, it's helpful for me. I also wanted to see her beats side by side with the Save the Cat beats. I like to match them up because for some reason, I think it's the percentages in the original Save the Cat beat sheet, it really helps me with pacing. I just like to always compare other beat sheets to Save the Cat so that I know what I'm doing, I guess. I have a list of romance tropes. I started off in alphabetical order and then it did not last because I hadn't found more tropes that I had forgotten. I just have notes on Michelle Schusterman's fast outlining. I like to keep a lot of reference pages that I can easily refer to. This was stuff for my Chosen Mates series. You know, it starts with Claimed by the Lone Wolf. Tilda's book, you know, I have my universal fantasies and tropes that I like to use, just notes about packs and characters. This was me brainstorming, I guess blurbs, not blurbs, but little summaries so that I know what's happening. And I was going to put the third book, Donovan's book, but I have not yet finished Tilda's book yet. I have my zero draft, really needs some work, so I'm trying not to think too much about the third book, about the character Donovan, you know. A timeline. Tilda's book took place over the course of 2 months, and I just like to have an idea of when things in the story are happening so that it doesn't get confusing. And I also, obviously, when you're writing a werewolf romance, you should know when a full moon's happening, so I also need a timeline so that I can see that. This was just a little word count tracker for my zero draft for Tilda's book, just a way for me to keep track, A, of how much I'm writing, and B, the framework of Nell Alexander's short romance that I modified for 30,000. My writing timeline. So I like to keep a timeline to put goals and deadlines for myself. This one, the March one, doesn't really, it was all about my publishing schedule on Substack, so that one doesn't really show. I have my April one in here too. So, you know, again, my publishing schedule for Substack, but also I wanted to reach the midpoint in Tilda's book on this certain day. You know, I wanted to reach the dark moments on this certain day. Like, just so I can make sure I'm being productive and completing goals, I guess. Like, I wanted to finish this whole draft by the end of April, so I put that here. However, I do put this stuff in pencil because I don't want to get too depressed if I don't hit those goals. So like, let's say something came up and I didn't finish this draft, and I went into May feeling like shit because, oh, it's on my timeline, I didn't finish it, I feel like a failure. I just erase it and move it maybe to, you know, the end of the first week of May or something like that. Let's go back to what you missed. I took some notes on a little Zoom seminar that Jessica Brody did about fast drafting. She's coming out with a new book about fast drafting, page 1 to done. It'll be out next year. But these are just some notes I took from the seminar. Notes on Tilda's book. I just do a lot of brainstorming on paper so that I can cross things off as I write them. This was my demon story that I was calling Project Hallow, about the demon Valafar. I would like to return to this one day, but I don't know. And then this was brainstorming for finishing Tilda's book, just some lyrics. This song, Cerise by Ghost, it is a very heavy inspiration and influence of the mood of Project Hallow, so I wrote the lyrics in here, and then the story never actually went anywhere. This was my May writing timeline. I wanted a little bit more space. And I started tracking my word counts, and the project that I was working on, like this green color, was for Project Hallow. I worked on the story work, you know, a little bit at the beginning of May, and then that's when I spiraled, you can see, a week of nothing. And then I started working on my mystery project, Pocket Knife, which that's what I was using the red highlighter for. And, you know, I did quite a bit of writing there. You could see my word count. More Project Hallow stuff that, you know, I'm gonna hang on to. I also wanted to write down the Romancing the Beat beats just so I had them on hand. And again, I compared them side by side to Save the Cat so that I could have a rough idea of the pacing and whatnot. Started brainstorming Project Hallow, and when I sat down to write it, it did not work. I took all of these notes on writing like mysteries and thrillers and stuff. Like this was writing a killer thriller by Jodie Renner. It inspires me to kind of take notes, I guess. You know, more. This one was from Doug Lansborough. I don't know, I think that might have been a website that I was just taking notes from and not an actual book. Here's just the Save the Cat beat sheet on its own. You can't see it because I wrote it in a gray Stadler, but I have the percentages over here because that helps me. And I also marked the 5 foundation beats. So Jessica Brody says if you are unsure of like your beat sheet, you haven't really outlined anything, and you don't really know everything that's happening in your story, it helps to just lay out the foundation beats first and then build off of those, because each foundation beat is kind of like a single scene of something happening to push the story forward, so to speak, like the catalyst, the break into 2. So it is very helpful if you don't really know what you're doing in your story to start with those beats, I have found. And then if you've been on YouTube, I'm sure you know the 27 chapter method by, I always want to say Katie-tastic, but I'm pretty sure it's Catty-tastic. But I just wanted to have that on hand as well. And as always, I compared it to the Save the Cat, and I also included the five beats in the finale. Jessica Brody goes more into detail in Save the Cat writes a YA novel. Nigel Watts's 8-point story arc, I put that side by side with I'm crazy for Save the Cat, okay? Project Pocket Knife, the 1-sentence summary, query formula, and 5-sentence summary. Sorry, Khaleesi just hit the tripod. And my characters, and then this is where I got into like brainstorming, the fun and games, as you can see, lasted a while. And my June writing timeline. It's a bit of a mess, you know. I started off working on Project Pocket Knife. I had a day where I was really amped up to work on Tilda's book, a little bit more Project Pocket Knife, and then I really got into Project Hunger, which obviously I am currently working on, as that is today. And yeah, so more fun and games from Project Pocket Knife. This was my stuff from Tilda's book that I was working on. Playlist for Project Hunger, and then we get into Project Hunger. I have, you know, my summaries over here, and then I got into brainstorming, and then all the freaking blank pages that I will not get around to using because I will be out of this notebook. Like I said, it's mostly just a place for me to take notes on things that I look back at when I'm feeling really like crappy about writing, but also a place for me to just obsess over Save the Cat, apparently. Sorry, my writing journal is actually not that impressive. Like I said, it's just a lot of things I want to reference, a lot of beat sheets. I'm obsessed with beat sheets and clearly very obsessed with Save the Cat. And yeah, just brainstorming. I didn't really go into detail of my little scratch notebook. This is just a tiny notebook that came, it was a freebie with my Hobonichi when I bought it in November last year. And initially I was trying to organize it, you know, like a writing journal, but it was too small for what I needed. So it just became like my scratch notebook. Anytime I have a note, I will write it in here, or like I'll get a new idea and I will just dedicate a page to it, you know, and just kind of brain dump the new idea, get it out of my system, and then move on. And when I need to handwrite to kickstart a chapter, I will do it in this notebook. That's all this is. This is just an ugly, non-aesthetic version of my writing journal. Like when I'm trying to figure out a one-sentence summary, I will hash it out here and be like ugly and messy handwriting, and then I transfer it into my writing journal, and yeah, I prettify it with a highlighter, you know. This is, I guess, more my brain, my writing brain, and that's more something that I like to reference, I guess. So yeah, it is only 8:45. I don't have anything I need to do today. I should clean this office, but the problem is I don't have a lot of storage. Like, it would basically just be me picking things up from that corner and moving it to this corner and trying to make it look neater. I really need a new bookshelf. I would like to get, you know, smaller shelves for display purposes. But for now, I don't have anything, so I just have a bunch of floor space, and there's no point in me trying to clean up right now because I would just be moving it to a different place on the floor, so yeah, I don't have anything else I need to do today. In my writing timeline, I have that I want to be past the catalyst by the end of tomorrow. I think that's doable. You know, I'm not too worried. I'm worried for a different reason. I'm worried that Cormac will be hard to write because I have built him up in my head, and I may have made him, I don't want to say too perfect because he's not like a perfect character in the sense, like he's not a Mary Sue essentially, but he's perfect in the sense that he feels very real to me in my head, and I want to capture that. And so I'm a little nervous about introducing him, but I'm also very excited. Like, this is the whole point of the story, is Cormac coming into May's life and kind of shaking her awake, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to do it, and I'm rambling. So yeah, I am going to get into writing chapter 3, which I'm probably just gonna do it on my iPad with my new Magic Keyboard. I hate being like a consumerist, you know, but I really like the Magic Keyboard, and my iPad is really smooth. I just like writing on it. So I'm gonna grab my iPad and I'm going to start chapter 3, and I will probably be listening to my playlist. I have added more songs. So now it's closer to like 2 hours and 30 minutes, I think. So probably gonna throw on my playlist and I'm gonna start chapter 3. So I just finished chapter 3. It is 1,564 words. I did end up splitting the catalyst because, like I said, it's over 1,500 words, but I thought I could give it like a nice little punchy ending so that future readers hopefully will be more compelled to continue reading. I've introduced Cormac. He's only said a few words at this point, but I feel good. I still really like him. I did kind of really deliberate on the tone I'm trying to give him when he speaks, but I think I'm like finding that sweet spot that's a good mix between like amusement, curiosity, but also that predatory dangerousness that you need from a vampire. So I'm feeling pretty excited. It is 10:30, so gosh, how long have I been writing? Like an hour? Maybe a little under an hour. I don't know. I finished chapter 3. I am feeling really good about it. I am a little hungry. I am a little thirsty. My coffee has long since gone cold. I want to make more coffee, but I should probably drink some water first. And I should probably take Barkley outside. When I'm in the office and my fiance's at work, you know, she does have to hold it all day, but since I'm home, why am I gonna do that to her? So I'm gonna go downstairs, take her out, and then maybe make myself something to eat. And then I'm going to come back up here and plot out chapter 4, which is the second half of the Catalyst beat, and we get more into Cormac and the chemistry between him and May, and I'm just feeling pretty good about it. Like 1:50 and I have to go to the bathroom and I'm all out of my water, so I need to go and get something else to drink. I was gonna make more coffee, but I don't think I'm going to. But I'm taking a brief break writing chapter 4. I feel like it's taking me a little longer than usual to write Cormac and write out what he says, and it's because I have to like really think about what he's saying and what he would say, but it's kind of fun to put myself in his head. It's almost like he's so different from any other character I've written so far. Like he still has, you know, I love a lovable rogue with a sense of humor, and so he has some of that to him, but I don't know, it's so different. And maybe that's just because I don't plan on writing from his point of view for this story, so maybe that just makes him feel different, and it's almost like he's mysterious to me too as the writer. I don't know, I'm having fun with it. Like I said, it's slow goings because it's almost like I have to think about every single word that leaves him, but it's fun and I'm enjoying it. Cormac. I love Cormac. I love Cormac. Okay, so I just finished chapter 4. It was 1,894 words. Let me do the math really quick, which totally should have done before I started filming. 3,458 words in the Catalyst as a whole. Although I guess the back half of the Catalyst could also kind of contribute to the debate beat, but I'm just kind of considering this the whole Catalyst because it takes place over the same scene. I really love Cormac. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the best character I've ever written or that this is even the best scene I've ever written, but there was just something about this scene as I was writing it, like I could see it like it was a movie. It was perfect in my head and I just had so much fun writing it. I just feel really good, and it's a relief because I was really worried to write Cormac, but there's just something about him, like the mystery of him and like coming up with things for him to say is fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just the spontaneousness of it. I think there's another word for that, but I don't know how to say it. Spontaneity? I'm not going to try. But it's like, usually when I'm writing a romance, I'm writing from the point of view of both characters. But because I'm not writing from his point of view, I feel almost like I have more space to be spontaneous with him. So it's like, even though I have the story plotted out, I don't have, all of his dialogue and conversations plotted out. So it's like he can almost surprise me, and he's just really fun to write so far, and I am really excited. But it is 3:47. I am going to take Barkley out, and then I'll probably just hang out downstairs, maybe have like a snack or something, and watch an episode of Godless on Netflix. I meant to watch an episode earlier, and I just didn't get around to it because I've been so busy. But yeah, I feel really, really good, and I'm excited to go into tomorrow and continue to work on this story. I almost have like 9,000 words in total, which is pretty cool because I just started, and I feel like, I don't want to say I'm flying through this story, but I do feel like I am making significant progress, and it's fun, and this is what I was looking for, I guess. I just feel so happy, and I've said that already, so I'll try to, not keep repeating myself, but I'm just feeling really good, and I can't wait to get back to it tomorrow. Okay, so it's Friday the 20th. It is 8:51. I had intended to get an earlier start on everything today, but I didn't charge my iPad yesterday, and I worked really hard yesterday, so it was in desperate need of charging. So I just have been, waiting on that. I could have worked on my computer, I know, but I don't know. I'm not trying to be like superstitious, like, oh, I'm only making as much progress as I am because I'm doing it on this iPad, so I have to continue to do it on this iPad. But I think there is a small part of me that does believe that.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
So I had it plugged in. It's almost done. It's at like 96%. I just had my second cup of coffee, and I want some more, so I'm going to go downstairs and make some more. But I also want to take out some birdseed because I don't think my fiance did that before he left for work earlier. And I should probably take Barkley out because it's kind of mean to go outside to feed the birds and stuff and then not take her out. So I should probably take her out. I did straighten up a little bit while I've been waiting for my iPad to charge. I know I had said it's basically moving things from one corner to another corner, but I did actually have some stuff that could be recycled and thrown away. So I have a stack of things I need to take down. I have been a little productive. I've tried to catch up on some YouTube videos. I had to finish an episode of Godless that I started last night before my fiance got home. I will say, if you like Westerns, it got a little better there, and there's a nice little sapphic love story as like a minor subplot. It's only 7 episodes. It's like a limited series. I just finished episode 5, and the slow burn romance that I started watching this for, I'm beginning to worry that it's never going to actually burn, because it's just these two characters that like exist alongside each other, and there's all these meaningful looks when they don't think the other character is looking. And like I said, I just finished episode 5. There's only 7 episodes. I'm like, are these people ever going to get together? But yeah, it's better than I thought it was initially. I will say, I don't like old Westerns. Like when we go to my fiance's parents' house, his father is always watching like John Wayne movies and stuff, and they're so boring and dumb. But I do love like a Western aesthetic, and I like modern Westerns. Like the 3:10 to Yuma remake with Christian Bale. I loved that movie, and it had a great soundtrack. But also like Red Dead Redemption, when I played that for the first time, I was obsessed. There's just something about a cowboy, and it's a weird thing. I don't like, modern cowboys because they're probably, Trump supporters. I gotta worry about that. But when I watch like movies and play video games, I love a cowboy. But yeah, so I've been productive. I journaled, but I'm going to go down and make some coffee, feed the outdoor animals, and take Barkley out. Make sure I don't have anything pressing with work. I am working. Then I'm going to come back up here and actually get started on outlining chapter 5, where it is the thick, I guess, of the debate beat, because like I said, chapter 4, I was considering it the catalyst, but I think technically it also spills into the debate beat. But chapter 5 is where we're really getting into the debate beat, and I'm a little concerned because the catalyst, I had so much fun writing it yesterday, and I look back at it so fondly, so I'm kind of nervous. How do I follow that up? So far, chapter 5 is giving me some issues. I did a 15-minute sprint and only wrote 328 words. I know once I get into it, it'll be good, but getting into it has been a little difficult. And it's like a part of me kind of wants to go back and reread what I wrote yesterday because I liked it so much. But I'm afraid if I go back, I will see that it wasn't as good as I thought it was, and I don't want to ruin it for myself. So yeah, I think for now, I'm just going to continue to power through with sprints until I get into it. It is 10:30 now. I got such a late start because I decided to plug in my iPad and then like clean, and I could have just used my computer. I could have just not cleaned and not watched an episode of Godless, but I also don't want to push myself too hard because I consistently push myself to burnout, especially like when I'm excited about a project and it's all I'm thinking about. It's all I want to do. It's like I justify to myself working on it obsessively because, hey, I'm having fun, I'm enjoying this. But that does nothing but contribute to the eventual burnout. So I know I shouldn't stress so hard, but I really just like this story so much so far. So yeah, I'm gonna do another sprint, see if I can't get into this scene, and yeah. Okay, so I have been writing. I did another 15-minute sprint and then I just kept writing. And this chapter is now like 1,200 words, and I think I'm finally in the thick of the scene, the stuff I actually want to write. It was mostly so far just a little setup to this scene. And unfortunately, I think I was doing a lot of telling versus showing, but that's okay because at this point I'm just telling myself the story and that can all be fixed later. I have broken into 10,000 words on the draft. I'm at 10,033. That's kind of cool. I have another cup of coffee downstairs and I'm afraid my coffee pot shut off because it has an auto off feature. So I want to run down and grab that really quick if it's still hot enough. And then I'm going to come back up and try to make some good headway on this chapter. I would really love to finish this chapter and the debate beat by the end of today. But the debate beat, while it takes place kind of over the same scene, it does feel like it's kind of a lot, and I don't think there's a natural way to split it up the way there was with the catalyst. So I'm not sure if I'll finish this chapter today, but I would absolutely love to do so. So I'm gonna go get that coffee, come up here and work, and I will probably stop again at 12 just to take my lunch break, eat something, watch an episode of Godless, lift weights, and hopefully be back working on this by no later than 1 o'clock. But yeah, coffee, work until 12, and we'll see where I'm at then. Okay, so I have finished chapter 5. It is 12:46, so things did not go as planned. I did not break for lunch at 12, and instead I kept telling myself, like, okay, you're at the end, you're at the end, you're at the end, so I just kept writing. This chapter ended up being 2,873 words, so it's a little long, but, you know, when I'm revising, there's probably a lot in the beginning that I can cut out of this chapter. I'm not as happy with the debate beat as I am the catalyst beat, but I do still think there's some good there. And again, I just really love Cormac. He's really fun to write, and I can't wait to get to the more intimate moments. And I don't mean like the physical intimacy. I guess I mean the emotional intimacy, and like him cutting through to all of her vulnerabilities and kind of challenging her and calling her out on her victimhood, I guess. I don't know. I'm excited to continue with them and see what that looks like on the page. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to end this vlog here. I'm not going to write anymore today. If anything, I may start trying to brainstorm the next beat, the break into 2, but I'm not going to write anything else today. My brain is a little fried from the writing because I am at 11,652 words now for this draft, which is really cool considering I started this story on Monday. So I have accomplished a lot this week. I feel really, really good about it. And I have to run to the store when I get off at 2:30. I didn't think about it, but I'm almost out of milk, which I need for my coffee, and I should probably pick up a few items to go with dinners over the next week. So I'm gonna end this here so I can go and do the things I need to do. And then I'm just going to spend the rest of the night chilling, probably, depending on, you know, when my fiance gets home. Oh, I have to edit this and get this video uploaded. I do want to get this uploaded as soon as possible. So yeah, if you have made it this far in this video, hopefully it is not as long as it feels like it's going to be, but if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate getting to share this journey with you, and it's nice to come on here and talk about a project that I really love so far, and it's nice to share the fun that I'm having. So yeah, I appreciate you being here and I appreciate you watching, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next video, and hopefully we will just keep on trucking upward, you know, in that nice trajectory of success. And yeah, thank you for watching.